Okay, so in this first track we're playing over, we have sort of a mid-up-tempo shuffle in the key of G. And it's an interesting track here because we have our 1 chord and our 5 chord as minor, but then the 4 chord is a little open-ended, but it's definitely not minor, more of a major feel, or almost just a lack of a third to that 4 chord. So, pretty standard 12-bar blues here where we have 4 measures of the 1. And I'd be using a G minor 7 shape to play for that. Then for the 4, again, it's almost just like a C power chord shape, or, you know, you can almost hear that third implied in there for a C major, and then that 5 chord would be a D minor 7. So we have that for our chord progression. And now we're going to dive into the licks that I'm using over the first 4 measures of that form and how I'm phrasing them. Okay, so let's take a look at the phrases that I'm playing over the first 4 measures of that 12-bar blues in G. And all of it is coming out of the G minor pentatonic to start with. And I'm up in the 2nd position. So, you know, first position would be... And I'm playing up here. You have a lot of those Albert King, Stevie Ray Vaughan style licks up there. And what I'm doing is I'm starting with a phrase that's almost like a motif, something you can hang on to there and really sets the tone for the solo. And then I'm responding to it with another lick. So that first lick, very simple. 3 notes right there, but it's all about getting the right feel and tone behind them. So that first note, I'm playing with my 2nd finger there. And even though it's a short note, you can't get a lot of vibrato on it, but you want just the touch of something to it. Just gives it a little more feel of all these notes aren't just played totally straight. They have some attitude to them. I'm using some rakes with my right hand, and I'm definitely using some vibrato with the left hand. So all I'm doing is playing it up to basically the flat 3 on the high E string. And you'll notice that also for that line, I'm using all downstrokes. Now, why am I using all downstrokes? Well, number one, even for the best of pickers, your downstrokes are always going to tend to have a little more energy behind them. It also allows you to use a rake, and which I'm doing pretty strongly into that 3rd note. But I have them all through there, and it just gives that attitude, and because it's not at a speed where I need to be alternate picking, there's nothing stopping me from using downstrokes. So I have that lick, and then in response to it, I have this lick. So what am I doing there? Well, I'm starting with a bend at the 8th fret of the high E. And I'm basically... I'm doing that bend, letting it go, and then coming down the scale a few notes, and then on that last note of the lick where I get back up to that 6th fret of the E, I'm using just a little bit of a microtonal bend there, where it's not... doesn't have the same sound to it. It's about giving that last note just a little bit of a squeeze. So, and you hear again, using a lot of downstrokes in there and raking quite a bit because I want it to really have that energy and attitude. So when we put together those first 2 licks that make up that first phrase, we have this. And it's all about, the final thing I'll say with this, is it's all about matching your vibrato to what you're playing over. So you'll notice there, have a pretty aggressive vibrato going on because I want to set the tone for the solo and what I'm trying to do as it relates to the band, or in this case, the backing track that I'm playing with. Okay, so coming up now, we'll take a look at the 2nd section of our solo.